We look forward to your company next time, right here on The Chase Australia.
Gladys Berejiklian's shock resignation triggered by a new corruption inquiry.
It pains me to announce that I have no option but to resign from the office of Premier.
Quitting the top job and leaving Parliament tonight, how it got to this, a historic fall from grace, her life in politics now over.
The race to replace her. Who will be our next Premier? The top contenders jostle.
Why now? An extraordinary reaction across Sydney and the country tonight, even a rally in support.
Also, international flights. Next month, new Qantas trips announced and New South Wales at the front of the queue.
The battle to save a Sydney cathedral, religious history lost.
Tolls rise just as life heads back to normal.
And a grand final under threat of lockdown. Could it still come home to Sydney?
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Angela Cox and Michael Usher.
Good evening. New South Wales is in shock tonight with a clearly shattered Gladys Berejiklian delivering a bombshell announcement that she is resigning as Premier and quitting Parliament.
The member for Willoughby said she had no option but to resign after the corruption watchdog announced that she's the focus of an investigation involving her secret relationship with disgraced former MP Darryl Maguire. Our state political reporter Alex Hart begins our coverage.
A brave face, but the eyes were a giveaway, raw with emotion, as Gladys Berejiklian confronted the devastating reality. Her political life is over.
It pains me to announce that I have no option but to resign from the office of Premier.
Forced to stand down after being named as the subject of a corruption investigation.
I love my job and I love serving the community, but I have been given no option.
The Independent Commission Against Corruption's bombshell dropped at midday, a statement revealing the state's 45th Premier will face 2 weeks of public hearings from October 18, grilling her about the awarding of 2 grants to the electorate of former boyfriend Darryl Maguire.
I want to be very clear. In all the decisions I have ever made as a Minister or as Premier of New South Wales, my first consideration has always been the well-being and welfare of the people of this state.
The ICAC specifically investigating whether her conduct breached public trust, involved the dishonest exercise of any of her official functions, and was liable to allow or encourage the occurrence of corrupt conduct by Mr Maguire. Central to the inquiry, was there a conflict between her public duties and her private relationship with him when $5.5 million was given to the Australian Clay Target Association in Wagga Wagga in 2016-17 and $30 million to the Riverina Conservatorium of Music in 2018.
I state categorically I've always acted with the highest level of integrity. History will demonstrate that I've always executed my duties, again, with the highest level of integrity for the benefit of the people of New South Wales.
Her public duties soon to end altogether.
In order to allow the new leader and government a fresh start, I'll also resign from the New South Wales Parliament.
A by-election looming in her safe Liberal seat of Willoughby once COVID restrictions safely allow it.
My resignation as Premier could not occur at a worse time. The ICAC has chosen to take this action during the most challenging weeks of the most challenging times in the state's history.
Colleagues sensed the Premier was in trouble last night when she cancelled a virtual town hall meeting with 1,000 Liberal members with just an hour's notice. Then this morning's crisis cabinet meeting was delayed.
I was advised late yesterday afternoon the Independent Commission Against Corruption will today release a public statement.
That sealed her fate. Gladys Berejiklian set a standard she had to meet. MPs must stand aside while they're the subject of a police or corruption investigation.
That same standard must always apply to me also as the Premier.
A Liberal colleague letting her resignation slip 40 minutes early during a parliamentary inquiry.
She's going to resign at 1 o'clock.
I know we're still on a live feed.
Resigning at this time is against every instinct in my being and something which I do not want to do.
The Prime Minister offering nothing but praise.
Gladys is a dear friend of mine. We've known each other for a long time. I've always found Gladys to be a person of the highest integrity. She has been a trusted friend and a very respected colleague.
Kind words too from State Labor leader Chris Minns. For all our disagreements, I never doubted Gladys's dedication to New South Wales or her work in the service of it. I thank her for her service. A public outpouring too.
I can't hear you! Gladys! One more time!
Flowers delivered to her electoral office and placed outside her home.
At times we all stumble, we pick ourselves up. We dust ourselves off and start again stronger and wiser than before. My only regret will be not to be able to finish the job to ensure the people of New South Wales transition to living freely with COVID.
Support from key factional allies unwavering till the end. Her voice only wavering a little.
Serving you has been the greatest privilege of my life. Please know that every day I gave it my all and worked as hard as I could to create a better future for our state and its people.
Losing power on the day she was named with other premiers as the most powerful people in Australia. Somehow Gladys Berejiklian signed off with a smile.
Finally, thank you again for giving me the honour of being your Premier. Thank you very much.
Do you regret not reporting Daryl Maguire earlier, Premier?
Questions. Soon she won't be able to escape.
Live to Alex Hart at State Parliament. Alex, you saw her resignation coming. Did the Premier have any choice?
No, Ange, she didn't. The standard set was very clear, and some Cabinet ministers told me if Gladys Berejiklian did try to dig in and fight, they would have quit her front bench anyway, effectively forcing her out. Now, these ICAC investigations historically take a very long time to reach their conclusions, and with the next state election less than 18 months away, it has to be said that having Gladys Berejiklian in Parliament fighting through these hearings and the fallout would have been a massive distraction for the government. On the flip side, the Liberals have lost someone who up until now has undoubtedly been their best electoral asset. Looking ahead to March 2023, it has to be said Labor right now very much in the box seat.
So, Alex, attention now turns to who will replace her. Is there a clear standout at this stage?
There is, Ange, and it is the Treasurer, Dominic Perrottet, but it is a very, very messy situation. There are several members of the party's moderate faction, the Liberals' left wing, who do not want a Conservative as their Premier, which Dominic Perrottet is. On top of that, there's added complication with the party's centre-right faction led by David Elliott, the police minister, threatening to scuttle a deal to make Dominic Perrottet the Premier by throwing its support behind a moderate candidate. Stuart Ayres actively considering running, so too is Rob Stokes. Now, I'm told the party's biggest name, the former Prime Minister, John Howard, could be called in to try to broker a deal, effectively demanding Perrottet strike a peace deal to ensure that he does in fact become the Premier. Otherwise, a growing list of rivals awaits, as Chris Marr reports.
The resignation may have come as a shock, but the jockeying for Liberal leadership positions was already well underway.
Especially because the ICAC was hovering. There's been a lot of discussion in the Liberal Party about what might happen on a day like today.
From once sharing a Darling Harbour picnic, the Treasurer and the Planning Minister, now considered leadership rivals. Dominic Perrottet, devout Catholic, father of 6, at 39, could be the state's youngest ever Premier, backing his economic management during COVID.
It's probably the biggest challenge, I think, in 100 years when it comes to the finances of the state.
In coming days, I will be talking to my family and colleagues about how I can best serve the people of New South Wales.
In personal terms, it's sad to see someone driven out of a job like this, but I'm sure Gladys will discover what anyone discovers in these circumstances. There's a lot to life beyond your job in politics.
Brought to tears today by the Premier's resignation, the Environment Minister, Matt Keane, tipped to be his deputy. There's a marriage of political convenience.
A factional arrangement, if you like, that would see both the Conservatives and the moderates being able to progress their cause.
But the Planning Minister, Rob Stokes, may head off that plan, understood to be gathering numbers, possibly with the Police Minister as a sidekick. He notably came to the defence of Gladys Berejiklian over Daryl Maguire.
The emotion has gone from sympathy to just anger. Anger that one of our own colleagues exploited Gladys and behaved like a James Hewitt of 2020.
The Transport Minister, Andrew Constance, a dark horse, no comment from him today, and the Western Sydney Minister, Stuart Ayres, may also consider a plunge. He too, one of the many frontbenchers to publicly back his former boss.
I'm very confident about the Premier's truthfulness with the community.
The bookies have an early favourite in the Premiership Stakes. They say Perrottet the one to back for a job with many hurdles ahead.
I think other issues now will come to the fore, and I think a replacement for Gladys will probably be on the back foot.
Well, let's go to Chris Marr, who's at Government House for us tonight. Chris, a lot of jostling in this race. How's it going to play out on Tuesday?
Well, Michael, the vote is scheduled for 10 a.m. Tuesday morning. Now, it can't be virtual. MPs need to be there in person. So they'll be granted travel exemptions under COVID restrictions. That, of course, is if it isn't decided beforehand by agreement behind closed doors. Now, once the new leader is chosen, they, of course, need to be formally sworn in here at Government House. Now, how that happens under COVID restrictions has yet to be announced. Michael?
All right, Chris Marr there, thank you.
Gladys Berejiklian has been the state's longest-serving Liberal Premier of recent times, in office for 4 years and 8 months. The former banker always appeared businesslike, but when her secret personal life was exposed, tough questions emerged, questions that have led to her downfall.
She was the woman with the unpronounceable name but unstoppable drive. The first female elected Premier in New South Wales history, March 2019. For her family, beaming pride. Immigrant success stories don't come much bigger. The daughter of Armenian immigrants, a boilermaker and a nurse, she was born in Manly but spoke no English till 5. Educated at North Ryde High, the first in her family to attend university. To her friends, she was Super Gladys, from banking to backing herself in politics.
It's absolutely unfair that people who've lived in the home for more than 50 years...
Young Liberals president to wannabe in Willoughby, a candidate 2003. She won. And when the Liberals won under Barry O'Farrell 2011, she became Transport Minister. The light rail and Opal card beset with blowouts and troubles. But as Treasurer under Mike Baird, she took the state to surplus for the first time in 20 years, with help from the poles and wires sale. Then Baird resigned January 2017 and Gladys got the nod. Only the second female Premier.
Congratulations.
And the state's first female Liberal Premier.
Can you tell us what sort of Premier you will be?
I can tell you this, that I'm someone who works incredibly hard.
In fact, say most, the bus-catching 45th Premier was a workaholic, micromanager, even obsessive-compulsive.
I'm ready for anything.
But it seems she wasn't ready for this.
You are the Premier of the state of New South Wales?
Proudly so.
The ICAC hearings shining a spotlight onto her intensely private life.
Have you ever been in a close personal relationship with Mr Maguire?
The disgraced former MP, Daryl Maguire.
That developed into a close personal relationship.
A 5-year secret relationship that ICAC was listening in on.
We've done our deal, so hopefully that's about half of all that gone now.
That's good. I don't need to know about that bit.
No, you don't.
But contrary to expectations her popularity would dive, it soared, seen as the victim of dodgy Daryl, the ex. There was hot mess Gladys, memes, even speculation about other boyfriends after this moment with the Royal Fire Service Commissioner. More focus when she confirmed she was dating high-profile barrister Arthur Moses. But above it all, she gained huge support for steering the state through COVID.
Good morning, everybody.
Her management described as the gold standard. It took a hit in this current outbreak, severe criticism for not locking down earlier. But with the bushfires and floods, most rated her an electoral certainty. The woman who saved Australia, screamed this front page, but it seems today unable to save herself.
Chris Reason is with us now. And Chris, what does the Premier's resignation mean for our path out of the pandemic?
Yeah, and Michael, instability at the top of government is not what the state needs right now. This could hardly come at a worse time. We have 2 massive COVID milestones about to collide in the coming weeks. First, the 3-stage opening up plan starting on October 11, and then at the very same time, case numbers and the pressure inside our hospitals expected to peak to their worst levels of the entire pandemic. And that's, while all of that's happening, the state's senior ministers will be in one almighty battle for the Premier's job and new portfolios, and then getting used to those new roles and new staff. I'm told the Health Minister, Brad Hazzard, is unlikely to leave his position, so some stability there. And sources within New South Wales Health are telling me that they will simply stay focused and carry on doing what they do so very well.
Interesting times. OK, thanks, Chris.
Well, voters we've spoken to in Gladys Berejiklian's electorate say they're devastated, not only that she's resigned as Premier, but they're also losing their local MP. While disappointment's being felt in Willoughby, across Sydney the reaction's mixed for a woman who rode high in the polls during the rollercoaster of COVID.
Gladys Berejiklian, the pandemic Premier, treasured and targeted.
Gladys, you have failed this city!
In Fairfield, hard hit by the outbreak, her resignation hit people differently.
I'm actually very happy, to be honest, because she's really made us all just stress out, to be honest.
Sad, because we like her. Yes, she's really good.
She did handle the COVID very good. That's my personal opinion.
In Penrith, a marginal Liberal seat and key election test.
Well, I'm really shocked.
I reckon she's done an excellent job.
She's had to make a decision. We understand that, but it's very, very sad at this crucial time for our state.
In Auburn, the Mayor of Cumberland not surprised.
I thought this day would come. I've been calling out for a month that I believe Western Sydney needs a new advocate.
Gladys Berejiklian's popularity had been a constant during the pandemic, though it had been slipping from an approval rating last year into the high 60s to around the mid-50s now. On the North Shore, Gladys Heartland, heartbreak.
She's got an awful amount of support from us, from the community, and we don't want her to go.
I cried. Gladys has dedicated her life to a political career. She has been the best premier this state has ever seen.
In her Willoughby electorate, after 18 years as the local member,
I felt a little bit sad and disappointed because Gladys has been the sort of the face of our fight against COVID in New South Wales, and I'm a big fan, so it's a big loss.
They're going to be hard to replace someone of her calibre.
What counts now? Who's next?
You should have a bit of common sense, that's what I think.
Maybe the Treasurer. But other than that, gee whiz.
Paul Caddick, 7 News.
Well, there's no doubt the departure of Gladys Berejiklian will have major implications at the federal level. Our political editor, Mark Riley, joins me now from Canberra to have a talk about this. Mark, good evening. So what does it mean for the Prime Minister?
Good evening, Michael. Well, it's a devastating blow for Scott Morrison. He loses his closest ally in National Cabinet. He loses a friend, a sounding board, a political confidant, and has to now forge a relationship with a new Premier at a critical time, with New South Wales taking the lead on the path out of this pandemic. But it also has much more dangerous implications just 6 months out of a federal election. Scott Morrison was eagerly looking forward to campaigning alongside Gladys Berejiklian as a popular Premier in a crucial state, chock-a-block full of marginal seats. He'll now do that with a new untested leader, with the stench of a corruption inquiry in New South Wales, and also the Liberal brand firmly on the nose. In short, for Scott Morrison, it's a nightmare, Michael. It's
going to be a rocky road. All right, Mark Riley in Canberra, thank you.
Despite their sometimes strained relationships, other premiers have praised Gladys Berejiklian. Queensland's Anastasia Palaszczuk wished her well, saying, "Contrary to some public commentary, I have always respected Gladys and found her to be good company." Victorian Premier Dan Andrews described Ms Berejiklian as a person of integrity.
Gladys Berejiklian has become the third Premier to quit because of ICAC. The Independent Commission Against Corruption was set up by the Liberals to investigate Labor corruption, but one of its first inquiries led to the shock resignation of Liberal Premier Nick Greiner in 1992. That was followed by an ICAC bombshell in 2014 when Barry O'Farrell, another Liberal Premier, infamously quit after giving evidence contradicting himself, forgetting he'd been gifted a $3,000 bottle of Grange. It was O'Farrell's government whip, Daryl Maguire, who would soon spark the Commission's most sensational hearings. Phone taps revealing his intimate relationship with Gladys Berejiklian, who was then forced onto the stand for a stark examination of her personal life. But ICAC isn't finished, announcing today Operation Keppel would continue to pursue her. 20 minutes after ICAC put out the news release, the Premier resigned at 1:03 this afternoon. A third Liberal leader gone, and arguably ICAC's biggest scalp.
Former Sports Minister John Sidoti has lashed out at the corruption watchdog during a fiery hearing today, accusing it of destroying reputations. The now independent MP has denied trying to pressure councillors into making planning decisions to benefit him and his family. While being grilled, Mr Sidoti snapped, saying it was unacceptable to accuse him of making something up.
Well, as we wait to find out who will lead New South Wales out of the pandemic, the state's experienced its equal deadliest day. Looking live now out over Sydney, our first taste of freedom is now just days away. Today, 864 new cases recorded and sadly another 15 deaths. 65.2% of the population is now fully vaccinated. But it's those refusing to get the jab today insisting their case be heard.
Unvaccinated workers soon to be stood down. But first, to stand up.
Stand up, Cheryl. I will stand up.
Another day of hijinks and handcuffs in Melbourne.
I'm coming. Leave her alone. I'm coming.
After more than 1 million workers across shops, factories, transport and more were today hit with this.
By Friday the 15th of October, every single authorised worker will need to have had at least one dose. That is, if they want to continue working.
The Australian government's policy has been only to have mandates in exceptional circumstances.
We're being bullied. We don't feel like we've got choice in this situation because we've been given emails saying that we're going to lose our job.
The same here in Sydney from teachers, even the principal.
They've forced us to choose between our beliefs and our careers.
But in Melbourne, the vaccine race is now a stampede, with forecasts of 3,000 daily cases by this time next week. The outbreak shaping up to be twice the size of Sydney's. Whole supermarkets are now shut as workers are plunged into mass isolation. Not helping 30 patients at this suburban clinic who were injected with saline, not Pfizer, in a backroom bungle.
It's even more important that we map this and track it and trace it as hard as we can.
And in Queensland, as grand final fever ignites the air, COVID still threatens to spoil the show.
3 new cases in Queensland today.
With a final call on the game go-ahead now, down to the wire.
We'll see what's happening on Sunday morning.
If the advice is to go into lockdown, we will go into lockdown.
As for the Queensland border, the Premier now wants a pile of cash from Canberra in order to reopen.
And that is to make sure that the hospitals can deal with the capacity, because when Delta comes in, it will spread like wildfire.
As travel giants threaten to take her to court.
What we have to do to get the borders open, we'll certainly do that.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Australians will be able to travel overseas within weeks. The Prime Minister announcing he's reopening the international border with New South Wales at the head of the queue. A new system will allow vaccinated residents to skip hotel quarantine, but not all states are on board.
Opening the doors to international travel.
Australia will be ready for takeoff very soon.
And sooner than expected.
This will happen next month. That's when it'll start happening from next month.
Some states moving into that next phase of the national plan before others as their vaccination rates hit the key targets.
We said to Australians, we get to 80%, you can leave the country and you can come back again.
If you're fully vaccinated. If not, restrictions still apply. Those double-dosed with TGA-accepted vaccines will do 7 days home quarantine on return. That includes China's Sinovac and India's COVID Shield, but not Russia's Sputnik vaccine. For the unvaccinated and those who've had unapproved shots, 14 days in hotel quarantine or a quarantine centre. Travel for the vaccinated, uncapped, but the unvaccinated will need exemptions to fly out.
We are not saying unvaccinated Australians can travel because that would be a risk to themselves.
Approved destination countries will be listed on Smart Traveller, with vaccine certificates needed on international QR codes.
It's great news for the tens of thousands of Australians that want to get home for Christmas.
Qantas is already swamped with inquiries, bringing forward its resumption to November 14, with 3 weekly return flights each between Sydney and London and Sydney and Los Angeles.
If they would open the borders today, I'd be the first one overseas.
It will be nice just to get out.
Open it all up. Open us all up.
It's the first step in eventually phasing out quarantine altogether, but National Cabinet is hardly united. Western Australia and Queensland aren't committing to reopening their borders, even when they pass the 80% vaccination rate.
We will do so when it's safe. If it is unsafe, it will not happen.
Scott Morrison has 3 pieces of advice.
Get vaccinated. Get vaccinated, get vaccinated.
The jab, a passport to a journey. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Well, Sally Barry joins us now with the weather. Sal, we've seen the lightning in the sky behind us and we're in storm watch tonight.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. Severe storms have just ripped through Sydney. These pictures have come into the newsroom. A tree came crashing down as residents filmed the fast-forming storms in Quakers Hill. Dark skies developed across the Hills district. It was brooding at Bankstown this afternoon as the rain fell thick and fast at Holdsworthy, 30 mils in 15 minutes. A short time later, hail pelted Prairie Wood. It was pea-sized but persistent at Concord, and a distinct shelf cloud formed at Budgewoi on the Central Coast this afternoon. To Sydney's north, a line of severe storms formed at Maitland, dropping as hail as they tracked towards Newcastle. While whitecaps whipped up the harbour, 85-kilometre gusts recorded there with dangerous driving in the heavy rains on the bridge. Now, those storms are mostly out to sea tonight and it is a much cooler 15 degrees in the wake of them. I'll tell you if it's the last we've seen of this wild weather with Sydney's full forecast a little later.
All righty, Sal, a lot going on, thank you. Well, heritage listed and up in flames. Next, emergency at a Sydney cathedral. Artefacts lost, the battle to save history.
Re-arrested the driver back behind bars over a horrifying crash in Casula.
New video and a big admission. The next twist in the murder that has captivated the world.
Never to see the light of day. A policeman locked up for life.
And right on cue, tolls rise as the states get ready to move again. Can a new campaign force a U-turn?
Don't go too far, make her come to you. Get out!
Nah, man.
It's all about winning, there's nothing personal.
No way I could have done that.
It's a street fight.
I'm not doing that, bro.
Nah. That was the wrong decision.
I made the right decision too late.
It was a wrong decision.
No stuff, I wasn't embarrassed.
Stop! Stop!
New SAS Australia, Monday, 7:30.
3 tyres.
Like a blended bet on the Ladbrokes app. You get more winning chances in the same race.
That's how you Ladbroke it. Take the rest of the day off. Come on.
Don't waste money on collectibles. Escape to Aldi, where Aussie shoppers save over $2 billion a year. Aldi. Good. Different.
Want to help hydrate and visibly improve your skin elasticity? Try QV Face Nurturing Night Cream from Chemist Warehouse. Enriched with vitamin E, B3 and safflower oil, the triple moisturising system mimics how skin naturally hydrates itself and helps to replenish moisture while you sleep. Right now at Chemist Warehouse, QV Face Nurturing Night Cream is $14.99. Complete the regime with QV Face Moisturising Day Cream with SPF 30. Live, look, feel fabulous every day at Chemist Warehouse.
At IKEA, we make our products as sustainably as we can to help make your footprint as small as it can be. Because the smaller our footprints, the greater the good for the planet we all share. So make IKEA part of your little world. And together, we can build a better world for everyone. IKEA, a better world starts at home.
Fancy Feast Petite Cuisine. Delightfully smaller portions, delicate and delicious. Perfect when their appetites aren't quite as big as their personalities. Fancy Feast Petite Cuisine.
Don't waste money on collectibles. Escape to Aldi, where Aussie shoppers save over $2 billion a year. Aldi. Good. Different.
3 tyres.
Like a blended bet on the Ladbrokes app. You get more winning chances in the same race.
That's how you Ladbroke it. Take the rest of the day off. Come on.
Welcome back. An alleged drug driver is back behind bars just days after being freed on bail. Cameron Forsyth was arrested last night after a court heard him deemed an unacceptable risk and danger to the community. Forsyth is accused of the crash which killed teenager Adam Goes last October. He's expected to plead guilty to aggravated dangerous driving causing death, which carries a maximum 14-year jail term.
A Sydney landmark was almost lost overnight when fire ripped through an historic church in Sydney's inner suburbs. Firefighters were able to save most of the Greek Orthodox cathedral at Redfern, but priceless religious artefacts were destroyed.
As the roof burns, firefighters race to save a church and more than 170 years of history. Called to the Greek Orthodox Cathedral around 7:30 last night, fire had taken hold in a room behind the altar. Minutes more and the whole building might have been lost.
There is a lot of damage in there, unfortunately. There is a lot of artefacts that have been damaged, and there is a big clean-up coming for the church.
Sacred items were destroyed. The heat, smoke and water also damaged large parts of the historic building. Built in 1848 for the Anglican Church, it was sold to the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese in the 60s, a sacred site for believers who'd been hoping to return to worship following COVID closures. Now it's not clear when that will happen.
We're very disappointed with this fire in our cathedral. Thank God we don't have any victims. I would like to ask our people to pray for us to find the strength to renovate.
While detectives say there might not be anything immediately suspicious about this blaze, they are investigating every possibility because of the historic significance and cultural importance this building has. An electrical fault, the likely cause. Andrew Denny, 7 News.
There's a new twist tonight in a murder case that has gripped the world. Police have released body camera video of an interview with Gabby Petito. The 22-year-old told an officer that her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, assaulted her shortly before they were pulled over in August.
Where did he hit you? Don't worry, just be honest.
He grabbed my face,
Did he slap your face or what?
he grabbed me with his nail, and I guess that's why it looks. I definitely have a cut right here, because I can feel it.
Yeah.
When I touch it, it burns.
Laundrie has been missing for 2 weeks as police continue to investigate Petito's murder.
A British policeman will die in jail for abducting and murdering Sarah Everard. Wayne Cousins lured the 33-year-old by claiming she'd breached COVID rules on a London street in March.
This man has brought shame on the Met. Speaking frankly, as an organisation, we have been rocked. I am so sorry.
Just 60 other prisoners have ever been dealt a whole-of-life sentence in the UK.
The extraordinary moment a train collided with a truck has been caught on camera there. An off-duty firefighter witnessed the heart-stopping moment that ignited a flash fire. Remarkably, no one was injured in that crash. Investigation is now underway.
He describes it as all hell breaking loose. Next, the storm survivor almost sucked out of his home. We're on the ground after a rare tornado near Tamworth.
The religious leader accused of swindling thousands from his Smithfield congregation.
Hooking them in, then leaving them harmed. How Facebook defends damage to teenage users.
Ahead in sport, grand final drama. Queensland's COVID outbreak continues to threaten Sunday's big match. Live to Brisbane with the latest.
Get ready for the next big television event.
Hey, it's 50 years.
It's the celebration of a lifetime. The longest running, greatest entertainment show in Australian history.
Have a go, make my day, come on.
Daryl and the gang are here. All together for the first time in years in one big television event.
You're my kind of bird.
The one show the world's biggest stars wanted to be a part of.
Should be hey, it's Saturday, every day.
Hey, it's 50 years. Sunday, October 10 on 7.
Fresh, green, order seen. Hey Kathleen, you know the routine. You order online, our personal shoppers pick your order just the way you like it. Shopping your way. That's today's fresh food people.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Right there. Nothing beats my weekly massage. And nothing beats Pikey and the Last today. Thank you, ladies.
Why the big Aristotle?
Because I'm big and I'm a philosophizer.
Is that a word?
Yes, it is.
Get Best Tote exotics across all Sydney and Melbourne races this Saturday. That's right, Best Tote on all exactas, quinellas, trifectas, first fours and quaddies. PointsBet.
Today's pace can take a toll. That's why Panadol Rapid relieves pain 10 minutes faster than regular Panadol tablets. So you can get back to what you care about most. Panadol. Care starts here.
Australia's making positive energy and there's more on the way. We've put solar panels here, and there. In fact, more than 1 in 4 homes have solar, eh? Ooh, that's a nice lake. Nice, because it's also a battery, storing energy for our fish tanks and hairdos. Looking good. We're investing billions in projects like hydrogen hubs and seaweed for feed, yum. Which means thousands more jobs and even less emissions. Because what we do today will define our tomorrow. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Playing an instant scratch its ticket is so exciting. It feels like flying into a big soft pile of super snappy puppies.
Put a bit, kittens!
Presto! There's no time like scratchy time with instant scratch-its.
Green, new things seen on screen. All in one space, delivered to your place. Introducing Everyday Market from Woolworths. Find hundreds of new and unexpected brands when you shop online. Shopping your way. That's today's fresh food people.
Aurelio se fue del pueblo, voy a comerme el mundo. Y si ahora lo vieras en la discoteca, ¿qué marcha lleva? Venga, venga, venga. Por la pista más bestia de la vida.
Incredible stories are emerging out of the state's central west tonight after a tornado swept through, ripping apart homes. One survivor describes the moment he had to desperately cling to a bench to avoid being swept out a window.
Their lives savaged, memories, possessions chewed up and tossed aside. Central West locals are shell-shocked.
I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's just devastating.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's a lot of damage. Yeah.
A tornado flattening properties, leaving families homeless.
I've got no house.
So fierce, when it hit Scott McKinnon's home, it almost blew him away.
I was hanging onto the bench, my arm out like that, hanging on the dog one hand. If I let go of the bench, I would have been probably out in a paddock somewhere.
There wasn't just one.
Is it going to touch down though?
Another twister followed, recorded near Narrabri, with reports of a third near Mudgee. The Central West tornado carved a clear 25-kilometre path of destruction, forming in Clear Creek, travelling southeast to Meadow Flat.
And I would say there's over 300 gum trees just totally ripped to pieces.
But as quick as it tore through, neighbours whipped up an army.
They rang me and said that they're in trouble, so we come to give them a hand.
Yep, simple as that.
Simple as that, that's all it is.
The power of the tornado, no match for the country spirit. This historic home is more than 100 years old. It's priceless and uninsured. Owners coming to grips with what comes next. Still, they won't be squashed.
Yeah, I've been just taken back a step or two. Yeah.
Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
A Sydney Mufti was arrested during dawn raids this morning, with police alleging he swindled Muslim groups across the country out of more than $100,000. Yasmin Bekrich is facing jail time after allegedly creating a charity to collect money for his family in Bosnia.
Is there anything you'd like to say to your followers, the people who have donated money that you've taken from them?
He was bailed to appear in court later this month.
Facebook has been put under a blowtorch, accused by US lawmakers of hooking, then harming teenagers on Instagram. The social media giant tried downplaying its own research on mental health effects until one politician showed just how easy it is to become online prey.
Boasting 1 billion users worldwide. Instagram, an online playground accused of being anything but social.
Instagram is that first childhood cigarette meant to get teens hooked early.
An addiction today blasted during a bipartisan inquiry, seizing on whistleblower reports and leaked documents, accusing parent company Facebook of concealing evidence the platform's fueling a global teen mental health crisis.
It is powerful, gripping, riveting evidence.
That evidence revealing 2/3 of girls on Instagram experienced a negative social comparison, with half declaring it related to images of beauty. Still, Facebook today pushed back, declaring new teen protections will soon be unveiled.
The research showed that many teens say that Instagram is helping them with heart issues that are so common to being a teen.
To hammer home the point, a US congressman today revealed he recently set up a fake Instagram account posing as a 13-year-old girl by simply following a few easily located accounts about extreme dieting. Within 24 hours, he was inundated with dark promotions glorifying self-harm and eating disorders.
We now know that Facebook routinely puts profits ahead of kids' online safety.
In the United States, David Woywood, 7 News.
A driver's destroyed the front of his car after smashing into a set of traffic lights overnight. Police were called to the crash on the M5 off-ramp in Riverwood around 11. The 34-year-old driver wasn't injured but will face court after allegedly returning a breath test reading of .194.
Sufferers of inflammatory arthritis are praising a pill that's helping them control painful flare-ups. Rinvoq has been called a game changer and has just been listed on the PBS. It will help the almost 180,000 Australians who live with progressive conditions that trigger immune system responses attacking joints from the inside. Sufferers need just one pill a day. With the PBS subsidy, a script will cost $41.
Well, Sydney's housing market is now rising at its fastest level since 1989. Back then, a home cost less than 180 grand. Now, it's steaming over $1 million on average. Can a course correction burst the bubble? That's next.
Plus, tolls rise just as we're about to get moving again. Outrage kickstarts a new campaign.
Soon in sport, Panthers star in a moon boot and up in the air for Sunday's decider.
And we're on Storm Watch tonight. Full details with Sydney's 7-day forecast soon.
These people aren't just rich, they're crazy rich.
The worldwide smash hit.
Hells yeah.
Crazy Rich Asians. Tonight 8:30 on 7. There are now hundreds of low prices at your local IGA, like Bega Block Cheese 250-gram varieties, $5, and Fancy Feast cat food 85-gram varieties, 7 for $9. Save every day at your local IGA.
When it comes to the big stage, you want to make it look easy. Try Sportsbet's Same Game Multi. With more markets, more offers and bigger odds. Make it a Same Game Multi this finals with Sportsbet.
At Harvey Norman, get 16 months interest-free, no deposit, no interest from Latitude, and receive a bonus gift card up to $500. That's a bonus $50 gift card for every $1,000 you spend on interest-free from Latitude. Shop our huge range of furniture, bedding, technology, entertainment, home appliances, flooring, bathrooms, and more. Take advantage of 60 months interest-free, no deposit, no interest with 60 equal monthly payments from Latitude, and receive a bonus gift card valued at up to $500. Now at Harvey Norman.
Go! Protect your health with Swiss Ultivite Men's and Women's Multivitamin from Chemist Warehouse. Scientifically formulated with a comprehensive blend of vitamins, herbs and minerals and Australia's #1 multivitamin. Just $14.99 each. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
We have to go! We can't get back to the present to fix the past and save the future! All good, mate! It's just... We're still over the 20! Hey! Healthy approximates! Healthy!
Don't miss Sportsbet's new Bet with Mates. Start your group, bet together and share in the moment. Bet with Mates, new from Sportsbet.
In a world of instant gratification, Kim likes things fast. That's why she uses the Catch app to search millions of products, like Kim's Kardashian. For all the brands they love, everyday Aussies, check out Catch.
The TGA Adverse Event Report of the 27th of August 2021 reported after COVID-19 vaccines 487 deaths and 52,546 adverse events. We need a government inquiry now. Join the United Australia Party. You can never trust Labor, Liberals or the Greens.
Authorised by Craig Kelly for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
Home alone amongst the gum trees. Harry's checking in on zoo life. See what they've been up to while humans have been away. New Better Homes, next up.
Checking the markets, the ASX 200 closed down 147 points. Shares in Westpac and the Commonwealth Bank fell. Qantas stocks rose following the announcement international travel will resume next month. And the Australian dollar is buying 72.06 US cents.
It has been revealed Australia's gender pay gap is only marginally better than it was at the turn of the century. A new international scorecard ranked 6 countries against 11 key indicators. Australia scored 4 points, tying equal last with the UK. Spain came out on top with a score of 8.5, followed by France, South Africa and Sweden. In Australia, the gender pay gap for full-time employees sits at 14.2%.
One of the biggest bands in the world, the Wiggles, have celebrated their 30th birthday with an online party. The children's supergroup formed in 1991 and has recorded more than 1,700 songs, including this new track released today.
Your hands and spin her around. Pat your head and touch the ground. And do the move they call the wiggle groove.
The Wiggles promise to continue entertaining children for the next 30 years.
Well, house prices in Sydney are growing at their fastest rate in decades. Costs have climbed by more than 20% over the past year, pricing first home buyers out of dream houses and into investment properties instead.
Sophie Gazzoli is part of an elite group, now a member of the First Home Buyers Club in Sydney.
I felt really proud and just excited at the opportunity to be, have a foot in the door at the property market.
New data shows just how special Sophie is, with first home buyer loans for owner-occupiers down 20.5% in the first half of 2021. Many more are turning to rent vesting, with a 45% increase in loans issued for first home buyer investment properties.
So it's clear that first home buyers are more price sensitive when we see these rapid rises in value.
In the past 12 months, home prices have increased 20.3%. An annual growth rate is now the fastest it's been since 1989. Sydney leads the pack for median house prices, now $1.3 million, which means a 20% deposit now exceeds $260,000.
The most effective thing governments can do is increase supply.
But a market correction could be on the way, with supply levels expected to increase and new fears buyers are taking on too much debt, which will force lenders to be tighter. It's also predicted that huge savings rates will return to pre-pandemic levels once lockdowns end.
The lending space is a big one to watch at the moment.
Tom Saker, 7 News.
The end of lockdown is near, but moving again is now more expensive. Tolls rise just as we're about to hit the road more. Outrage sparks a fresh campaign to freeze the hikes, what it's costing and will there be a backflip? Don't miss that story soon on 7 News.
But first, Matt is back with sport. Matt, good evening to you. Could this be true? A chance the grand final could come to Sydney?
Yeah, there's plenty to happen between now and then, but good evening to you, Michael. And the game's bosses are looking at every available option, including relocation, as Queensland COVID numbers threaten the decider. Details next. Both sides unfazed, saying they'll play anywhere, anytime. The coaches even shake on it. And clear skies, but frustration reigns for the Aussies on day 2 of their pink ball test with India.
Special time, Sunday, 7 o'clock.
1 minute I had a brother, and then the next minute, he's just gone.
All of a sudden it went bang. Major developments in this family's search for answers.
That's animal blood or it's human blood. Who was the driver on that day? This man has the potential to kill.
Homicide with Ron Iddles. Special time Sunday at 7 on 7.
Surprise!
A giraffe!
Let's scan it.
Discover new Kinder Surprise toys and bring them to life on At Play Do.
Wow! Dad, look at his long neck!
That's how the giraffe eats.
Download app Play Do and play with your kids with Kinder Surprise.
Domain has the sleep solution for everybody and every budget. Our wide range features the best bedding brands and the latest sleep technology. Mattresses and ensembles designed for individual support and personalised comfort. Solutions for hot sleepers. Clever storage ideas to save on space and adjustable bases for healthy bodies and relaxed lifestyles. Our specialised team can help you find your perfect night's sleep. It's all part of the Domain experience. See the difference for yourself at Domain.
There you go, ma'am. All good to go.
Coles Car Insurance is full of nice surprises. Like the fact that we won the 2021 CanStar Award for Outstanding Value. Switch today for value, the Australian way.
Right now at Carpet Call, you can take 50% off. Yes, 50% off all rugs purchased at carpetcall.com.au. Range, quality and price. That's why for over 40 years, Carpet Call are
the experts in the trade.
I'd like a bar of chocolate, please.
Your change.
Happy birthday, Mum.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Who says one wellness fits all? Or that you need activewear to be active? Yeah, look like nobody's watching. Introducing new Centrum Tailored Benefit Blends. Do wellness your way.
No rush, mate. It's only the first.
Throw it in, waiting in position. It's knocked down as they scramble for the loose ball.
Welcome back. Looks like the women are
Dominating again. Sure does.
Four for Rachel King. I hope you put your same game on. Steve. It all comes down to this.
Play everywhere, Australia. Tab. Long may we play.
This Sport Report is brought to you by Tab. Long may we play.
Welcome back. The prospect of the NRL Grand Final going ahead in Brisbane on Sunday remains on a knife edge. The venue, even the day, far from locked in due to COVID, but unlike rejected ticket holders, those directly involved in the season decider are unfazed.
Masked up and ready for Sunday, fans confident Grand Final fever will beat the virus. A great vibe as players took centre stage, Bunnies getting the biggest cheers.
Adam Reynolds!
Even the feuding coaches made up.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for your Grand Final teams for 2021?
After a season coping with COVID, fears of a Brisbane lockdown jeopardising Sunday's game phases no one.
Whatever happens, you got to roll with it. So I think it's just the way it is.
Players are ready to play. If they're going to play tomorrow, next week, week after, they'll play. So it's something that we can't control.
Keen to play, and again, just grateful to be back in a grand final. And you know they're pretty hard to make, so yeah, just happy to be here.
Whatever happens, happens.
Playing before a capped crowd this Sunday in Brisbane remains Plan A. There's even reports of returning to Sydney and delaying the game by a fortnight. But moving to Townsville in a week's time is still Plan B.
We'll have to consider all of our options. And one of those options is, of course, postponing, relocating the game to Townsville if the restrictions are higher there and we're able to play there in front of fans.
This is as close as some fans will get to the players and, in fact, the grand final. Last night, 13,000 ticket holders were told they're not going to the game. Even tragics who bought tickets early have been kicked out of Sunday's crowd.
I'd like to know why and how. People that really wanted to go and they got in early and made sure they had tickets, and then to be told no.
I just flicked open my emails and I just thought of 12-year-old little me, the big Bunny supporter I've been since I was little, and I was devastated.
The Bunnies said goodbye to loved ones this morning, hoping to see them before kick-off on Sunday. And Shervo, there is still some level of concern. The Panthers fullback Dylan Edwards is still sporting that moon boot, and he was a no-show at the fan day here this afternoon. But as far as South Sydney goes, they are sweet, 1 through to 17. In fact, Adam Reynolds has even indicated the groin's okay, and he may even resume the kicking duties in the big decider. Shervo.
Plenty happening. Thank you, Shell. Well, the Aussie women are fighting back in the day-night test against India. Beth Mooney was right in the thick of the action, taking a blinder early, but Elise Perry had overstepped. Smriti Mandana used the good fortune to score her first test century before being dismissed for 127. Mooney and Perry were able to redeem themselves later in the day.
The edge, the catch! Beth Mooney has held on to a blinder in the gully.
India were 5 for 276 after a run-out by Annabelle Sutherland. And a huge storm struck the Gold Coast to send players running for cover. Josh Hazelwood is pushing to play in the T20 World Cup later this month. He was man of the match for the IPL ladder leaders Chennai, taking 3 wickets against Hyderabad.
Gone. Doesn't matter, who cares? Mo and Ali.
MS Dhoni booked Chennai's place in the playoffs with a 6 whacked out of the ground. One of the great characters of the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics is on the loose tonight. Dual Paralympic swimming medalist Grant Scooter Patterson was made an honorary mayor of Cairns, had a visit from Dawn Fraser and was given the keys to the city in the tropical far north.
Feels great. I still don't know what they unlocked, but I'm waiting for 3 p.m.
Scooter has already committed to the Paris 2024 Games, and I have it on very good authority, guys, the man himself, that he wants to go right through to Brisbane 2032 as well. He's a champion.
He is a champion. OK, thanks, Matt. Tolls went up on 7 of Sydney's major roads today, the 4th increase in the past year. At first glance, the rises appear modest, but a blow everyday users can ill afford, with calls to defer regular price hikes.
With freedom only a matter of days away, drivers will pay for it. Once again, toll prices have jumped.
In the most tolled city on earth, Sydney, as a result of the contracts that the New South Wales government has signed.
Here's what went up today. New prices for maximum car trips ranging from $3.49 for the Lane Cove Tunnel to $8.52 for the Westlink M7. Now that's an average quarterly increase of just under 1%. It means a regular user of, say, the Eastern Distributor will pay an extra $57 a year, the M2 and North Connects almost $42 a year, and the M7 $31 a year. For business owners like Paul Reid, today's increases will cost him thousands a year.
That's either another apprentice's wages or, we can't put more staff on.
Both drivers and the opposition are asking toll operators to defer today's price hike.
Let's give us a toll increase holiday. Heaven knows Sydney's been through enough over the last 15 weeks.
Transurban refused to talk about deferring today's increases, but it was keen to remind people about its pandemic toll credit program, which has provided more than $10 million to more than 40,000 drivers nationwide, but only for eligible customers. And there's a long road to recovery post-pandemic. Ashley Hansen, 7 News.
All right, Sally's back now. Sal, hello again. What's the latest with these storms?
Well, they're pretty much over for now. I'll tell you if those dark and stormy skies will return this long weekend with Sydney's 7-day forecast next.
On Weekend Sunrise, discount overseas travel, special deals to welcome back Aussies, plus exclusive The New Property Hotspots, Saturday 7 a.m.
3 tyres. Like a blended bet on the Ladbrokes app. You get more winning chances in the same race.
That's how you Ladbroke it. Take the rest of the day off. Go on.
Hey, Spuddy. I need your assistance on an urgent claim that's just come through.
How are you, Spuddy?
Not too good. A big storm's here. It's all hands on deck for us.
Yeah, like always, huh?
Yeah. If you could look after the cats for me, please.
Yeah, of course.
Nearly burnt everything out, Yeah.
Most people I talk to, John, have never been through this before. But let's start with a cup of tea, hey? Yeah. We'll go through it together.
Morning, Spider. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. I'm always there.
As I said, reach out if there's anything you need.
Yeah, fantastic. I appreciate your call.
She's here now, actually.
Get
25% off Top Gear at Autobahn this Friday and Saturday. Enjoy 25% off all speakers, subwoofers and amps, and 25% off seat covers, protection and heaps more. This Friday and Saturday only at Autobahn.
Top Gear, low prices.
Avocado, avocado don't. Avocado, avocado don't. Avocado, avocado don't. Aldi's fresh Aussie has avocados. Do or don't. Aldi. Good, different.
Today FM is making one lucky listener a guaranteed millionaire.
Just sign up to the Listener app to register for $1 Million Alpha Bucks.
Then tune in live every weekday to play with us, Husey, Ed and Aaron, only on Today FM.
Hay fever was ravaging Earth. To escape their multiple symptoms, they had to leave. Until new Desonex tablets arrived. No non-drowsy hay fever tablet relieves more symptoms. Enjoy Earth with Desonex.
Confident. Good sport. Carefree. Best lover. Best friend. In a word, it's you.
Johnny So is running around.
Like no other. All new Renault Arcana.
Johnny So is running around.
3 tyres. Like a blended bet on the Ladbrokes app. You get more winning chances in the same race.
That's how you Ladbroke it. Take the rest of the day off. Go on.
Easy peasy, orange squeezy. Is this the easiest lamb roast you could ever make?
So tender.
From easy Aussie outdoor dishes to desserts that transport you around the world.
Sugar and spice, all things nice.
A tour for the taste buds on new Better Homes. Next up on 7.
Tonight, 7 News headlines. Gladys Berejiklian has quit as Premier with the corruption watchdog to investigate whether her relationship with then MP Daryl Maguire was a breach of public trust.
The next Premier to be decided on Tuesday by a party room vote. The Treasurer Dominic Perrottet is considered the front-runner.
And a mix of shock and disappointment from the voting public, flowers and a show of support at her electoral office.
Now, here's Sally with Sydney's weather.
Thank you, Michael. And there's certainly been plenty of weather this afternoon. The storms are pretty much over. They're currently out to sea, but it sure was a dramatic end to a rather dramatic day. Before those dark clouds rolled in, we reached a top of almost 25 degrees in the city. It was even warmer through our west, 28 degrees in Penrith. Those storms forming this afternoon around Campbelltown and Camden. Then they started to push through, firing across Holdsworthy, dropping a staggering 30 millimetres in just 15 minutes. We had pea-sized hail reported across a handful of suburbs, including our inner west. Now, today is actually the 4th day in a row where we've seen widespread showers and storms right across that eastern flank of Australia. Today, the atmosphere pretty unstable, so those storms just bubbled around that New South Wales and Queensland area. Tomorrow that will continue thanks to this offshore low, although things should start to ease from there on in. Around the capital cities for tomorrow, showers are expected through Perth and Hobart. Sunny and warm weather is expected with a bit of fog in Brisbane tomorrow, 28 degrees there. Canberra heading for a top of 18 degrees with some showers and storms at times. A closer look for New South Wales. That low is going to push out to sea into tomorrow. We'll still see showers and storms just through that southeastern corner of the state. 24 degrees into Port Macquarie tomorrow, some storms, and 21 degrees in Albury. A cloudy start to the weekend for Sydney siders. Bit of fog in the west. Chance of showers falling just in the late morning and also once again in the afternoon. Very light though, 1 millimetre is forecast. We might just see the odd storm or two in the morning and afternoon, and temperatures will be cool around the low 20s for most. On the water tomorrow, we've got variable winds. They'll just sit around that 10-knot mark. We'll drop to 13 degrees in the city tonight, a top of 23 tomorrow with barely a drop of rain, but just an afternoon shower forecast. Looking ahead, things will make a bit of a dramatic turnaround. A splendid finish to the long weekend. Sunday heading for a top of 24 degrees, 27 in our west. Plenty of sunshine for the holiday Monday, 27 degrees expected there, 29 degrees in the western suburbs. And then temperatures will pretty much return to the low 20s for the remainder of the week. But it looks like the long weekend will be quite nice, guys.
Sounds good. OK, thanks, Sal. That is 7 News for this Friday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening.
From all the 7 News team, thanks so much for your company. Have a great night.
Good night.
Get it.